Hello, welcome to class. Well done for making it. This is a level 3, so a progression on from level 2. We're starting with a supine hip flexor stretch. Grab your knee and squeeze your right knee in towards your chest 5 times. Just open up the hips. Grab the back of the thigh, hamstring stretch 5 times. Nice and gentle. Don't worry about how straight or bent it is. Opening up the back of the legs. Just get the legs moving, and then grab hold of either your thigh, calf or ankle. Just do what you can. If your knees are slightly bent, that's totally fine. I just want you to open up your legs and your hips a bit before we start working out. Supine hip flexor stretch. So move your pelvis over to the right, lift your knee up and then rotate it over to the left. Look towards your right thumb and breathe into your hip and your back. Back through center, square yourself up, look at your pubic bone, navel and nose all one line. Grab your left knee, hip flexor stretch. Energy reaching out through the legs, through the feet. And grab hold of the back of the leg and straighten and bend your leg 5 times. Just opening up the back of the leg. Into a hamstring stretch, so holding onto the back of the thigh, the calf, the ankle. Doesn't matter how high or low your leg is, just breathing into the back of your left leg, opening up the legs before we start. And supine hip flexor stretch, move your hips over to your left and have a stretch, breathing into your spine, breathing into your chest, breathing into your hip. Back through center, align yourself, pubic bone, navel and nose in one line. Feet sit bone width apart, arms down by your sides. Spine curls, then with knee floats, then with extension. Tuck your tailbone up to the ceiling and then roll the spine back down. Breathing out to tuck the tailbone up, pressing the heels down, breathing in at the top, and then breathing out to sequentially roll down through your spine. 2 more of these. Our target area are the back of the legs and the glutes, and also the inside thighs. So imagine there's a tennis ball between your knees so that you keep your thighs from splaying out wide. Ribs down at the top there to keep your abs engaged. Now we're going to add in some knee floats. Tuck your tailbone up to the ceiling, push down through the heels. Now lift your left knee up without the hip dropping and then plant that foot down. Lift the other leg up without the hip dropping, plant the foot down, tuck the tailbone up, and then sequentially roll down through the spine. And again, breathing out to tuck the tailbone up and lift your left leg up, plant it back down, lift your right leg up, plant it back down, tuck the tail, and then roll down through the spine with as much length as you can. Again, 2 more. So once again, the target area is the back of the legs. Now float your right leg up and then plant it back down. Float the left leg up. The challenge here is to do the knee floats without the hips dropping. Working the obliques, so the waist muscle, your pelvic floor, and really press into the supporting leg. And then the other leg, and then tuck the tail and then roll back down. Now into with extension. So you're going to tuck the tailbone up, roll up, and then you're going to lift one knee up to tabletop, then reach the leg out so it's in line with your thigh, bend the knee, and then plant the foot down. Lift the other leg up, reach it out, bend the knee, plant the foot back down, do a little tuck of the sit bones to the thighs, and then roll down with as much length as you can. Again, pressing into the arms is going to activate those shoulder stabilizers, and then pelvic stability, and then extending the leg out adds on a challenge, adding on a lever, so more challenging to your core, and then one bony protrusion as best you can as you roll back down. 2 more sets. Tucking the tailbone up, press into the supporting leg, keep the hips square, and then reach the foot out. Bend, plant that foot down. Lift the leg up, reach the leg out. Bend, plant the foot down. Tuck, check into your knees, and then rolling down through the spine. Repeat that again. Hips really square. Feel the strength in the shoulders, the back of the legs, the inside thighs. Now, hands behind your head, curl ups with single, double knee floats. You're going to lift your head and your chest up, float one knee up to tabletop, plant the foot down. Other knee up to tabletop, plant the foot down. Both legs up, feet down, do a little lift of your chest and then lower back down. Breathing out to lift up, breathing into pause, breathing out to lift, into lower, out to lift, into lower, out to lift, into lower, lift your chest and then lower back down. We're going to do about 6 of these. So the challenge here, once again, when you're doing the single knee floats is pelvic stability. And when you're doing the double knee floats, you want to make sure that your tummy doesn't puff out. So the challenge is to do this single knee, double knee float, keeping the pelvis and the lower back absolutely motionless. It's quite hard to lift both legs up simultaneously without the tummy puffing out and it going into your back. So how you do that is by gently lifting up your wee muscles, gently drawing the belt in a notch, and feeling like the belly button scooping down and up your spine is floating the knees up. Good, again. Keep the head and chest lifted as you do the single, double knee float. Good. Now we're going into oblique curl ups in tabletop. So after you've had a little break, we're going to lift your knees up into a tabletop, one leg followed by the other, core engaged, legs are together, elbows slightly lifted, head and chest lifted. And then from there you alternate sides. 2, 3. Keep pushing the head back into the hands as you lift up and lower so your neck is relaxed. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these alternating shoulder lifts. Keep the legs absolutely still and your pelvis still, pelvic stability. Place one leg down followed by the other and then lower down. Into up, both down knee floats. So hands over your belly, legs are together, and we're going to lift both legs up together. So both legs up together and then lightly place the feet back down. 2, anywhere between 6 to 10. 3. Now the challenge here, the lower back needs to stay very still. Don't let the back lift or flatten as you hinge in the hips. So the movement is happening in the thighs, in the hip sockets, whilst keeping your pelvis and lower back very still. Into hip rolls with extension. Roll over to one side, extend both legs out, bend and return. Roll over to the other side, reach, bend and return. Keep going, so anywhere between 4 to 8 of these. The priority is to keep your shoulder blades really flat against the mat as you roll onto one hip, extend, bend and return. Really beautiful strengthening exercise for your obliques and for your shoulders. And when you extend the legs out, activate the thighs and the abdominals. And then place your feet down. Into side openings, rolling over onto your left side. Line yourself up with the back of the mat so that you know you're straight. Hands behind your head, knees are bent in tabletop. The underneath side is lifted, hands interlaced behind your head. Lift one elbow up and then rotate. And then lift and return. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. 4 to 6 of these. Keep the knees and the hips as still as you can. So energetically you're reaching out through the knees. And then as you roll, press the elbows down towards the floor to activate the shoulder muscles at the back to open your armpits and your chest. Keep breathing into the stretch whilst maintaining leg stability. Into Clam. So I'm just moving my legs back there. Clam 2 and 3. Bottom leg straight, top leg bent. Lift the knee up and then return. Breathing out to lift, breathing in to return. Pivoting in. So it's like you're pivoting from the side of the foot to the sole of the foot. 10 of these. Keeping the hips stable is a challenge here. Because your bottom leg is straight, you've got less surface area to balance. It's okay to push into your top hand, but do not roll the pelvis to lift the knee. Keep the pelvis still as you move the thigh in the hip socket. The target area are the buttock muscles, the glutes. Now into Clam 3, where you extend the leg out, bend, and then back down. Breathing out, and in. The challenge here is not only the pelvic stability, but also when you extend the leg out to keep the external rotation of the thigh. Think of activating the sit bone muscles. Think of activating the deep back hip pocket muscles as you extend the quad. So extend the leg using the quad. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. And keeping the thigh still as you extend the leg out is also a challenge. Don't let the thigh lift up towards the ceiling or drop down towards the floor. Well done. Other side, lying on your other side, line yourself up with the back of the mat. Hands behind your head, knees bent up in tabletop. Underneath side lifted. Lift the elbow up and then rotate. Use the first couple just to warm up. Really beautiful stretch for your chest and for your spine. Lift the elbow up and then rotate. Reach through the top knee as you reach out through the top elbow in the opposite direction there to help you with the twist. Roll the head towards the elbow to assist with the rotation of the spine. And enjoy the movement, enjoy the stretch. Pressing the elbows down to activate the shoulder muscles at the back. Of course, there's a gentle zipping of your pubic bone up to your belly. And now into Clam 2 and 3. So straighten out the bottom leg. Bottom leg is in line with your pelvis and shoulders. Now lift the knee up and then return. Activate the bottom leg by reaching the foot away from the hip, and then with that top leg, you're thinking of lengthening the thigh bone out of the hip socket. And you don't want the knee to go all the way down to the floor because that'll roll the pelvis, and the priority here is to keep the pelvis motionless. It's quite hard to know if you're keeping it still, so check into the underneath hip. Make sure you're not rolling forward and back on that hip bone. Glutes are the target area. Clam 3, extend the top leg, and then return to the start position, breathing out, and in. And you want to try and keep that thigh as still as you can as you reach the leg out. Avoiding dropping that thigh down or lifting the leg up. Okay, so keep those deep external hip rotation muscles engaged. As you straighten that leg, don't let the leg roll into parallel. Keep it turned out. So you're thinking of the heel going to the wall in front of you and the little toe going to the wall behind you as you straighten the leg. Excellent. Now we're going into a stretch of the hips. So make your way onto your knees. Step your right leg forward into Lunge 2. So Lunge 1 is with the hands down, and you can stay there if that's enough. Or Lunge 2 is with the hands on the knees. And then you're pressing the hand down into the knee to imprint the lower rib cage back. We want to feel the stretch in the front of the left hip as opposed to feeling compressed in your lower back. Pressing the hands down into the thigh will help you activate your abs. Then into a kneeling half lunge, hands down, and then you drop your head forward. Hips above your knee. Allow your head to drop, looking towards your belly button, allowing the weight of the head to stretch the back of your leg. Face is soft. And then other side. Left leg forward, lunge 2. I like to just pop my back knee back so I'm not on the kneecap. I move the kneecap away. And then into a deep lunge, feeling a stretch in the front of the hip. Come up onto your knee, press into your knee with your hands to activate your lats and your abs. Feeling the glutes contract to send the message to the front of your hips to stretch. And of course, lengthening up out of your pelvis, out of your spine. Kneeling half split, hands down, and then drop the head, gazing towards the belly button. Allow the crown of the head to drop towards the floor. Keeping the toe down on the mat will stretch the muscle of the belly, the belly of the muscle rather, as opposed to flexing the foot, which gets more into the nerve. Now we're going into roll-ups with the TheraBand. So grab your TheraBand. If you don't have a TheraBand, you can just grab hold of the back of your thighs. Put the TheraBand around your feet and have your feet out the width of your hips, so your feet are pushing the band apart. Start sitting up and then roll onto your coccyx, your sacrum all the way down, keeping the knees bent, imprint your lower back. Now as you roll up, roll through the lower back. C-curve forward, and then keep the C-curve as you roll back. Pressing the feet apart and away from you, keeping the knees bent will activate the back of the legs and the outside hips. And the challenge here is to co-contract the abs and the back of the legs. Roll your shoulders, your lower ribs, the lower back. Rolling back, pressing the sit bones to the back of the thighs to help you activate the back of the legs, and then rolling. So the TheraBand's there so you can use your arms to help you get the roll. The priority is to roll through your back, and ideally trying to almost like iron your spine out as you roll back, making contact with your lower ribs, your lower back into the floor now, and then peeling your spine off the mat as you roll forward. Get rid of that into hundreds, lying on your back. Knees up into tabletop, legs together, arms over your head, rib cage down. Lift your head and your chest up. Now hold on to the back of your thighs to help you get a curve of your upper body. Extend the legs out and then bend the knees. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, bend, 2, 3, 4, 5. 32, 3, 4, 5, and bend. So using your arms, it's like you're holding onto the back of the thighs to help you build the strength and to help you get the curve of your shoulders off the mat. We're trying to imprint the lower ribs down into the mat so that you can curve the upper ribs at the back there off the mat. Feeling that the back of the legs are contracted by poking into the back of the legs. So you're pressing the heels together. Well done. Grab hold of the knees. Double knee hug. So you're just squeezing the knees into your chest, folding into the hips, opening up your back. Okay, single leg stretch, knees in tabletop, press the hands into the thigh that's bent. 3, about 10 of these. 4, so you're pressing the hands into the thighs, the thigh into the hands, keep your upper body lifted and try and press the legs together. Calf and foot press, to activate the inside thighs. The back of the legs are contracted. Lower down, have a rest. Into scissors. Lift your head and your chest up, legs up, lift your shoulders off. Now lower one leg and then pull the other leg towards you. 3, shoulders down. 4, but shoulders off the mat. 5, pressing the lower ribs down into the mat to get the curve. Reach through the legs. Thighs are engaged. Back of the legs are engaged. Reaching the feet away from the hips into crisscross. Hands behind your head, and then you reach towards the opposite elbow. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. And like the obliques that we did in the warm-up, your chest is lifted, but then you lift one shoulder up higher than the other. Keep zipping the pubic bone up to your belly button. Well done. A glute stretch, ankle across your thigh. Either hold onto your thigh or your shin. And then pausing here for 3 to 5 breaths. Bending the elbows to increase the stretch. Other side. Grab hold of your thigh or your shin. Your feet are active so that the muscles in your calves are engaged to protect your knees. Imprinting the shoulders back will increase the stretch and strengthen your shoulder muscles. Okay, now we're going into a long leg lift exercise. Hands behind your head. Feet are flexed and apart. Really activate your legs, and you're trying to imprint your lower back. So already you can feel your abs. Lift your head and your chest up. Lift the leg up as well. Now we're going to alternate. So you do an oblique and then an oblique. So you lift your right leg up and lift your chest. Lift your left leg up and lift your chest. And now press the right elbow down as you lift the left. Press the left elbow down as you lift the right. Then square it up again. 2. And then into the obliques. The challenge here, and then oblique. Good. Again, square it up. Is to keep the hips absolutely strapped flat as you move your upper body and your legs. And trying to keep your lower back imprinted there is really super challenging, so you should really feel your core working. Okay, flip over onto your tummy, and we're going to go into breaststroke prep. So, hands underneath your face, knees are bent, heels are together, knees are apart. The focus is pubic bone imprinted into the mat. Now, lift your knees off and then pulse your heels towards your buttocks 3 times. Now, straighten out your legs are apart, and then you lift them up and then return back to the start position. So, heels together, lift the knees off, pulse 2, 3. Straighten your legs are apart and turned out, and then lift with straight legs, lower them back down, and then bend them, and then return the heels together. Lift the knees up without going into your lower back. It's all back of legs. Straighten the legs. Lift and reach, lower them down, and then bend again. Hamstrings and glutes. Hamstrings, 2, 3. Quads engaged. Hamstring and quad. Lower down and then bend and return. Okay, keeping the pubic bone imprinted into the mat, really zipping your lower abdominals up. So co-contraction of your tummy and the buttocks, anywhere between 4 to 6 of these. The more you can tuck your tailbone down and engage your glutes and zip your tummy up, the better your back is in this, okay? Now we're going to go into the upper body. So keep your heels together, knees apart, thighs down. Now lift your upper body up, then straighten out your arms, reach the arms around to the back, lift, and then return to the floor. Lift your upper body, reach the arms out to Superman, reach the arms back towards your knees, and then return the hands underneath your face, everything down. Lift, thoracic extension, scapular stability, extension, and then abs engage as you lower down. As you lift up, your buttocks is engaged, the deep abdominals engaged, and then the mid-back muscles are working here, abs engaged. Really actively engaging the glutes, your lower abs as you activate the mid-back. And then release. Well done. We're going to go into dart with single arms. So arms down by your side. And then we're going to lift your head and your chest up, rotate your palms down. Reach one arm over your head and then back down. Other arm over your head and then back down. Both arms over the head and then back down. Squeeze the shoulder blades back and then lower down, other ear on the floor. Again. Now we want to keep the glutes engaged, so draw your sit bones down to the back of the thighs. And as you do a single, double arm, we're challenging your torso stability. The legs are active, the tummy is zipped up. Now you alternate arms, one arm over your head without the shoulder going up around your ear, other arm, and then both arms like a ballerina doing a pirouette. So the challenge is to also reach the arms over the crown of the head without the collarbones going up around your ears. You've got to drop those collarbones down away from the ears. If I was to poke around the back of the legs, the gluteal fold area, that would be firm. If I was to poke around your lower abdominals, that would be scooping up to support you. Your hands are reaching away from your shoulders. And your torso is remaining really square as you alternate and move the arms. We're doing about 8 of these. Can generate a lot of heat in the body, but these are really important torso stability strengthening exercises. And also because we spend so much time in front of a computer, we're really working the rhomboids in between the shoulder blades. Really important muscles for your posture. Have a little rest. Now we're going to go into swimming. So arms out, little fingers down, thumbs up, legs straight and apart, core and glutes engaged. Shoulders down away from your ears, lift your arms and your legs up, and then alternate which leg you're lifting and arm. So opposite arm and leg. 20 of these. Can you feel your tummy? Like your hips are drawing toward your ribs, thighs are engaged. Have a little breath. So we do 20 of these, 2 lots. And out again, arms and legs up, and then alternating arm and leg. Keep the collarbones away from the ears, keep the core, ribs to hips engaged, using the glutes to lift you up. Make sure the knees remain straight, so we're working the glutes. Well done. The challenge there is that you don't rock your pelvis around. Shell stretch, knees and feet together. Sit back on your heels, arms are out in front. Then contract your buttocks, lift your hips up off your heels. Scoop your belly button in. So I'm just showing you there, trying to show you the scoop. So I could slide my hand between my belly and my thighs there. Knees and inside thighs are pressing together, and it's a beautiful opening in your lower back. Kneeling glutes. So stack your joints, lift your right knee up and then tap it back down. 2, 3, 10 of these. 4. The challenge here is to keep your weight in the center of your supporting knee. Don't let the hips swing over to the side and roll onto the outside of your supporting knee. And you'll feel how that really activates your core there. And then fire hydrant out to the side. 2, 3. Only lift the leg up 4 within a range that you don't swing your hips out. 5, 6, ribs in. 7, belly zipped. 8, shoulders wide, pressing the hands down into the mat. And then straighten the back leg and then lift and lower it 10 times, reaching the back leg out. 2, 3, keep the leg parallel. 4, hips square. 5, ribs in. 6, press through the arms. 7, keep the elbows straight. 8, pelvic stability. 9, 10. Other side. Have a little rest first and then we'll do the other side. Shell stretch. Inside thighs, glutes, tummy contracted, opening up your lower back. And then kneeling glutes other side. So stack the joints, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and then back leg up and down, keeping the knee bent. 2, focusing on the hamstring and buttocks. 3, 4. The challenge here is check into your supporting knee and make sure you're in the center of the knee joint. Don't swing out over the outside of the knee joint. 10 of these, moving the thigh in the hip socket without moving your torso. And then fire hydrant, knee out to the side, targeting the outside hip muscles. Once again, keeping that supporting leg really parallel, don't swing out to the side. And we do that by checking and making sure the knee is centered. And then reach the left leg out, lift and lower. 2, 3, reach out through the inside thigh. 4, 5, moving the thigh and the hip. 6, without the pelvis moving around. 7, 8, knee is straight. And then we're just doing a little rest here. Okay, so thigh stretch 1, tuck your toes underneath. Glutes engaged, so pubic bone pressing forward. Now hinge back from the knees, tapping the hands to the heels. 2. We want to try and keep straight from ears to knees. 3, 4. So the movement is happening in the knee joints. Now you can straighten out your toes and then try and do it with your feet flat. So lengthened out. 2. Okay, thigh stretch. Glutes engaged. Don't arch back from your spine. Lean back from the knees. Excellent, well done. And now into roll like a ball. Grab hold of your shins, feet together, knees apart. You might even want to hold on to around the ankles there, and then you roll back and then you return without touching the floor. Up to 10 of these. The challenge is to balance on your buttocks there, keeping your legs and torso in the same position. Try not to swing your feet over your head or use your legs to sit back up. We're wanting to hold that little tucked position, that ball shape, and roll through the lower to mid to upper back. Pressing the feet together will activate the inside thighs and the glutes. Into spine stretch with a flat back. Arms are parallel, legs are out the width of the mat and engage. Contract your buttocks. Now C-curve forward, tapping the hands down, and then straighten out your spine, and then C-curve back, and then return to the start position. Ribs to hips, and then lengthen out, and then imprint the lower spine ribs back, and then return to sitting. Keep the legs active, keep the buttocks engaged. And a nice way to think of this is imagine the headlights of your hips square, and then imagine the headlights of your hips shining down to the floor, and then squaring up parallel to the floor, and then return. Unhunch the shoulders as you C-curve, elongate out. Unhunch, and then return. Opening up the lower ribs as you C-curve. It's almost like you're doing a seated sit-up there. Long leg lifts, lying on your side. Line yourself up with the back of the mat. Underneath side lifted. I'm just sorting out my earring there. Top leg is in line with your torso. Bottom leg is bent. The leg starts in line with your hip. And then raise your top leg. When you're ready, you're going to raise your top leg up and then return it to hip height. Up to 10 of those, keeping the leg parallel. Don't let the leg turn up towards the ceiling. Our focus area is the back of the leg and the outside hip, keeping the foot in line with the pelvis and the shoulders and the head, and then L shape, forward, up, down, and then back, keeping the hip in line with keeping the foot in line with the hip, and then we lift it above the hip. Quad, outside hip, and then back of the leg. Thigh muscle, outside hip, and then back of the leg. Hinging, folding at the hips, keeping the pelvis and the lower back nice and steady. Up to anywhere between 6 to 10 of these, really strengthening for glute med and min on the outside of the hips there. Keep flexing your foot, drawing your toes towards your knees so that you activate the whole of the leg, and then hold it out there and lift up and down 10 times. Move the thigh, not the pelvis. Keep the lower back still. Don't use your lower back to lift the leg up. Pressing into your underneath leg and hand. Well done. Have a little rest. Into side lifts with balance, top arm up to the ceiling, and we're going to do a chest lift. So you lift the legs up, lift the head up, and then return to the start position. 2, underneath side is still lifted. 3, the legs are ever so slightly in front of your pelvis so that we work obliques. And obviously this is quite challenging to keep the hips square to the front as you lift the head and the legs. Reach out through the head and the feet and the top arm. Anywhere between 6 to 10 of these. Heels are pressing together, big toes are pressing together to activate the legs. Now into side reach on the elbow. Elbow, hips, feet in one straight line, and then start with the shoulder pulled down away from your ear. Now lift your hips up, then lift the arm and the leg up, and then return, and then lower the hips down. Again, press into the elbow, arm and leg float up and down, and then return, keeping the collarbone away from the ear. Anywhere between 3 to 6 of these. Strengthening the left side of your body, challenging your stability by floating the arms and the legs up. If this is too hard, you could just do the arm or just the leg. Good. Other side, long leg lifts. Line yourself up with the back of the mat. Bottom knee bent, top leg straight, foot, hip, head in one straight line, glute engaged. So I'm just checking that my buttocks and back of the leg are engaging there. And then lift and lower. The heel is in line with the hip, and then you lift and then return to that hip height. The foot is flexed, so your quads engage, you're pressing out through the heel even though you're thinking of pushing the thigh bone back, and that'll help you activate the hip extensors. Of course, torso is nice and stable. Then L leg, forward, up, down and back. Between 6 to 10 of these, whatever you did on the other side. Pelvic stability challenge. Can you do this maintaining the hips and lower back as motionless as possible? The pelvic floor is gently lifted. The underneath waist is gently lifted. You're pressing into your bottom leg and your arm, reaching energetically out through the heel. Strengthening, toning for the leg, keep engaging the knee so the leg is straight. 2, hold it out there. 3, 4, think of the glute muscle to lift the heel. It's the left glute muscle, the top hip, that lifts the heel up. Pelvic stability, reach the thigh back and then return. Have a rest and then into side lifts with balance. Legs are straight, arms are up to the ceiling, feet are slightly forward of your pelvis so you can see your toes from where you're lying. Heels and big toe joints are pressing together and you're reaching your feet away from your hips as you lift your head and your chest up and then return. 2, quads engaged, knees are straight. 3, reaching the inside thighs away from you. 4, waist muscles. 5, lengthening down as you lengthening your torso from head to heels on the way down and on the way up, reaching out through your body. Of course, gentle lift of the wee muscles and your waist muscles. Into side reach on the elbow with stability challenge. Elbow under your shoulder, elbow, hips and heels in one straight line. Legs are really active. Pubic bone forward, shoulders back, collarbone down away from your ear. And then press down, lift and then return. Press the elbow into the mat. Press the feet into the mat. And really flex your feet as you lift and lower the arm and the leg. Reach out through the heels. Zipping pubic bone to belly button. Okay, now into front support. Hands out the width of the mat. Feet are tennis ball width apart and you're in a pyramid position, really reaching the hips away from the hands. Collarbones away from your ears, pressing your armpits towards your knees and pressing your thigh bones to the wall behind you. Now out into a plank position. Lift your right leg 3 times. 2, 1. Lift your left leg. 3, 2, 1. And then put your knees down. Widen your hands and draw your fingers slightly in towards one another. And then 3 push-ups. 3. Chest leads the way. 2. Rather than the pelvis. 1. Bring the hands back into parallel. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips up. Pyramid position. Pressing your hands down and forward and your feet down and back. Creating space and length in your spine. Out into a plank position, shoulders over wrists. Left leg, 3, 2, 1. Right leg, 3, 2, 1. Push-ups, knees down, hands angled in slightly. And then lead with your chest. So it's like you're leading with your chest down to the floor so you're in a plank position as you go down. 2, torso stability. 3, shoulder stability. Good. Hands in parallel, tuck your toes, lift your hips up. If I was to poke your thighs, firm, sucking the belly in and up, reaching the hips away from your hands, lengthening out through your side body, around your waist, and then out into a plank. Right leg, 2, press into the supporting leg to feel the obliques. Left leg lifts, 2, 3, knees down. Bring your legs together, or you can have them apart, and then angle, and then pressing 3 times push-ups. We do anywhere between 3 to 6 sets. Beautiful stretch for your shoulders, your spine, your legs. You can look towards the middle of the mat and then out into a plank, shoulders over wrists. Left leg, 2, 3. Right leg, active legs, active arms, knees down, angle in, little push-ups. 3. You can do tiny little mini ones as well. Build up your strength. Hands in parallel. Pyramid position. tennis ball width apart with the legs. Reach the hips away from the hands, opening up your shoulders and your chest. Out into a plank. Right leg. Working the back of the leg without the hips rotating. Working the glute and the hamstring without the hips rotating. Knees down. Now keep your shoulders nice and still as you bend at the elbows. 2. Press with your belly and then parallel. Tuck. Lift. Deep breaths. Soft upper shoulders. Strong legs, stretching the heels down towards the mat. Out into a plank, stack the joints, stability. 2, 3. Reach. 2, 3. Knees down and push-ups. 3, 2, 1. Well done. Child's pose. Feet together, knees apart. Drop the head down. Arms are reaching out. Have a rest. Back support prep. So flip around. Feet are parallel and apart. Arms are back behind you. So you can either have your fingertips to the side or to the back. That's the easiest, or to the front is the full version, okay? Just do what you can. Chest is lifted. Do not sink in the shoulders like that. You want to lift your chest up the whole time. So maybe do 1 or 2 more of those just to feel the correct position. And then you lift your hips up. Keep looking at your pubic bone and then lower back down. Keep the chest lifted. Pivoting in the hips. As you lower down, lift your breastplate up to activate the mid-back muscles. Lift and then reach. Anywhere between 3 to 6 of these. Work in the back of the legs, working your shoulder stability. Excellent. Lift, pubic bone to nose. Okay. Into double pigeon prep. So your legs are crossed over like a kid in a classroom, but then wiggle your feet out so that they are the width of your knees, and then reach forward, drop your head down, have a rest. This is to stretch the glutes out. Breathing, relaxing. Such a beautiful stretch on the hips. There's no rush, just take your time, allow your body to be still and to stretch, and then rolling up are the leg. So we put the other leg in front, feet are out the width of the knees, pull the flesh of your buttocks out because that just tips the pelvis forward slightly, and then over you go, dropping the head down. Allow your face to be soft, allow the head to be heavy, stretching the hips out. Breathing, relaxing. One breath at a time. Allowing your muscles to stretch. And then roll up. Grab. Oh, actually, we're going to do a lunge stretch. So you're in a lunge, feet are parallel, sit bone width apart, lunge 1, so your hands down, lengthening. The back glute is engaged, so the leg that's behind you, that buttocks is contracted. Stretch the ears away from your back leg, opening up the front of your left hip. Now keep everything where it is and try and straighten the front leg. If you need to move the back leg forward a bit, that's fine. Or if you want to come up with your arms straight, that's fine. Otherwise, bend your elbows, drop the head down. Let the weight of the head stretch the back of your front leg. One breath at a time, giving your muscles some time to stretch. Step that leg forward and then reach the right leg back into lunge. I like to be up on my fingertips. You can have your palms down on the floor, or you can do fists like knuckles down into the ground. Okay, the glutes are contracted to send a message to the front of the hips to stretch. And then straighten the front leg, drop the head down, stretching the left leg. So there are some options there. You can have the front knee bent, or you can have the arms straight, or you can do the full version like this. Just do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, and then pause and breathe. Well done. Now bring that leg forward, and then we're going to go into some rowing with rotation. So put the TheraBand around your feet, the legs are together. So elbow swipes with rotation, squeezing the buttocks, and then reach the elbow back, and then the other one. So you're alternating sides. Up to 10 of these, strengthening the shoulder muscles, strengthening your oblique muscles. The legs are active, toning the legs. Imagine you're pressing the back of the knees down into the floor, and imagine someone's calling your name behind you and you're just trying to rotate around and look. Okay, now into biceps. So roll back onto your coccyx. So you're in a C curve, palms up, and then you do bicep curls. So I'm just needing to hold on to a little bit lower. Bicep curls. Okay, so you're in a curl back. Try and keep the arms on a parallel to the floor. Press the feet together to activate the inside thighs. Sit bones down to the back of the thighs to engage the glutes and hamstrings. Hips to ribs, scooping in. Keep the arms as still as you can, moving the forearms. Up to 10 of these. And then sitting up straight, paddling. So flip your palms back, reach the arms by your side. 2, they'll go out to sort of like a V shape with your arms. Mid-back muscles, lower shoulder blade muscles. The hands are going back, but you're actually thinking of the shoulder blade muscles, drawing the shoulder blades together and pressing the arms back. Legs are active. Hold it, hold it, hold it, feel it, and then release. Well done. Thank you so much. You might just want to have a little moment just to close your eyes and connect to your body, calm body. Well done. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can stay up to date and get notified when it's released. Thanks for watching, and remember, movement is medicine.